Hello, my name is Nancy. I'm an educator, a lifelong learner, a gardener, a mother, a grandmother, and I'm the author of this book, Keeping Kids and Teens Safe and Happy, Helpful Tips for Parents and Grandparents. And I wrote this book to help families. And I'm very happy today to have my niece, Christina Azzaro, on set with me. And in a few minutes, we're going to talk about how she adopted Danny, a 12-year-old, from a foster care program in New England, and the challenges that Danny has and what it's meant for her family. But first, I would like to start by covering a topic from the beginning of the book, which is keeping kids safe. And I spoke about this on the last show, but it's very important, and I would just like to review it. Lead poisoning is a global problem, and it affects millions of children. So be very careful about lead paint in your home. When removing lead paint, always hire a professional. And paint can contain, and also toy jewelry, toys, certain pottery, water from lead paints, soil and other products can contain lead residue. So make sure you always have children wash their hands after playing outdoors and before eating to limit exposure. And make sure that old service lead pipes do not contain residue of lead. Contact your water authority for their expertise and have your water tested regularly. And I also wanted just to review about, and it's difficult to even hear these topics, but it's important, strangulation danger from corded blinds and other cords. And I've spoken about this in another show, and I'm just reviewing, but corded blinds can be so dangerous for babies and young children that as of June 2024, new safety standards in the U.S. will prohibit the sale of blinds with cords. There will be other options available, such as cordless blinds, which have been available for years. But the problem is that millions of corded blinds are still in homes. So unless homeowners replace the ones they have, they will remain. So if you cannot change your blinds, there are safety devices you can buy to lessen the chances of your child getting injured. There are many products to childproof your corded blinds, such as cord cleats. A cord cleat can be a plastic or metal safety device that enables you to wrap dangling cords so they are out of reach of children. But there are other cords that can cause trouble, harm, and even death. Electrical cords, heart monitor cords, any type of cords or ropes should be out of the reach of children and kept on high shelves. Never assume a child won't wrap a cord or rope around their neck, because sadly it does happen. Children have been known to get out of bed and wrap cords around their neck to devastating results, even as parents are in another room thinking their child is sleeping. I mean, that is so heartbreaking. So no cord should ever be left hanging in babies, toddlers, or children's bedrooms. Most accidents happen when children are put in bed for a nap or bedtime. So please discuss this with other parents you know. It's very important to get this message out so we keep kids safe. And from the second part of the book, which is keeping kids and teens engaged, happy, and healthy, I just want to read this quote from St. Augustine of Hippo. He was a saint, a theologian, and a philosopher. And he has this quote that I thought was beautiful. It says, "What does love look like? It has hands to help others. It has feet to hasten to the poor and needy. It has ears to hear the sighs and sorrows of humankind." That is what love looks like. And in chapter 19, which is titled, Setting a Positive Example for Your Children and Grandchildren, Model Kindness and Compassion. Your children or grandchildren are like little sponges. They absorb everything they see and hear as they are growing up. They listen and hear both the good and the bad. If you gossip a lot or denigrate others, they hear it. It affects them. If there is tension in your home, they feel it. It distresses them. On the other hand, if you help your neighbors when they need a favor, they notice that too. If you have a sick or elderly neighbor or relative that needs help, are you there for them? Are you willing to take the time to be of service? Do you live out the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The little sponges are paying attention to how you treat others. Do you call a sick or injured friend or family member or send a get well card? Do you bring a dish of food to someone in need in your community? Have you helped supply the neighborhood food pantry with donations? Even simple actions and gestures mean so much. I'm always amazed at how much appreciated a simple get well card or an email or a text is when someone is sick or grieving. Show others that you care and make sure your children and grandchildren are aware of the good that you do for others. And that's part of that chapter. And I thought that that would be a good way to begin this conversation with Christine, because Christine and her husband Chris have done a very noble thing. They've adopted a child, Danny, who was 12 at the time, from the New England foster care program. And Danny has some special needs, and Christine and I are going to discuss that right now. So Christine, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here. So, as I said, Danny was 12 years old. Now she's 13 when you first adopted her. And you had already 4 boys from Chris's first marriage. So just describe that a little bit.
So we had a full home before Danny came in. I have 4 stepsons who've become my own children over the course of the past decade, and 2 of whom are now adults. So we have a 21-year-old as the oldest, and then the youngest, who was 4 years old when I met him, is now 14 going on 15, and it's just really been such an incredible privilege to have them in my life and watch them grow into really beautiful and kind young men. And about a year ago, Danny moved into our home, and she's just been such a joy and a wonderful addition to our family. And I think one of my favorite things has been seeing, it was very slow, but seeing now how she's developed relationships, especially with the 2 younger of my boys. And you know, they really just treat her like they would any other sibling, and I think that's such a beautiful thing, right? You know, if they were too nice to her all the time, then you'd be concerned. But she's really quite integrated into the family.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Danny was with a foster care family in Massachusetts before you adopted her. And how was that experience for her?
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I think it's such a shining example. I think we do, at least I had heard a lot of kind of negative stereotypes about the foster care system and about foster parents who just take in kids to kind of make money. And those were some of the stereotypes that I had in my mind. And Danny was with an absolutely wonderful family, an angel on earth, who took Danny in and really changed her life from when she came in when she was 7 years old. And treated her like part of the family, and did that not only for Danny, but for many, many kids in the community. And what a blessing to have someone. I've seen it written as foster parents as the bridge, right? So they're a bridge between the child going back to their biological family or adoption, and you have this wonderful bridge that really helps to serve these children in the community. And of course, my bias towards Danny, who probably would not be the young lady she is without the love and support of that foster family.
That's wonderful to hear that she came from such a good home.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. So Danny has she has special needs. Could you tell us a little bit about her? She has an autism diagnosis?
Yeah, so she was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder when she was about 6 years old. And autism is a communication and a processing disorder, so she struggles with various aspects of communication and socialization. However, it's not an intellectual disorder, so she is really on par in terms of her abilities with her peers. And I've heard it said, if you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, and that's why they say it's a spectrum. Because I say all this, but I'm trying not to make generalizations about other folks who are on the spectrum, because it's really such a wide range of things.
Okay. And there were a lot of resources when Danny moved to Trumbull. There were a lot of resources in Trumbull for Danny.
Yeah, I feel very blessed and very lucky, because Trumbull is such a wonderful community, and such a fabulous school district. And I think when Danny first moved in with us about a year ago, what I and my husband, what we really wanted to do as we integrated her into our lives is really keep the services that she had, to really, just to kind of make a continuation of where she was going. So in the school system, she has an IEP, an individual education plan, which really details the sort of structures and supports that are available to her that'll help her get to that successful place in school. And we meet about that plan twice a year or as needed, and really to kind of review and just make sure she's like a happy, successful part of the school community. I think that's really everyone's goal. So we also have her in applied behavioral analysis, or ABA therapy, which she does 3 days a week at the Kennedy Collective, which is also in Trumbull. It's a fabulous resource for all things disability within our community, and such wonderful, wonderful people who are coaching Danny in some of those communications challenges that she has, just to really help her get to that definition of success, that she sees for herself and that we see for her. So those are some services that we've kind of continued from when she was in the foster care system.
Good. And so Danny goes 3 days a week to the Kennedy Collective?
She does.
And that's after school?
Yes. Yeah, she goes after school. They also have a really nice social group for young people with disabilities that meets once a month and provides a nice social outlet. And she does that as well at the Kennedy Collective.
So she's making friends there.
Yeah. Oh, they just love her. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what is SEPTA?
So SEPTA is another thing I really wanted to give a shout out to on this show when we talk about resources for special needs kids. Most towns, is my understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on that, have their own SEPTA, which stands for the Special Education Parent Teachers Association, or PTA. So the SEPTA in Trumbull, the Trumbull SEPTA, is very active, and what a wonderful community of parents who are just really fighting to ensure that their children receive the services and treatment that they deserve. So if it's something that you're interested in, all are welcome, allies and advocates, as well as parents of special needs kids.
That's wonderful. So describe the progress you see that she's made since moving in with you.
It's interesting because it's sort of like an unnatural situation, right? Because I often find myself wondering, is she making progress just because, time is elapsing? And, she's just more comfortable with us, or is it coming from, but the thing is, she's maturing as any child would, right? So it is really, I think over the course of the past year, we've really seen her come out of her shell a lot with us. And part of what they work on in therapy with her is communication and making conversation, etc. And over the course of the past year, I've really seen her do that a lot more. And just like any kid, she always says some really funny and interesting things. And every time I hear one, I think, man, I have to write this down because I'm gonna forget it. But yeah, I definitely by way of conversation, and some of her other challenges as well. She really struggles with losing in games and not coming in first. It comes from an idea that's pretty prevalent in kids on the spectrum, this kind of perfectionism, wanting to kind of have that, and frankly, probably in a lot of young people for various reasons. And so she's really been working on that and had made some strides in that regard as well.
Good, excellent. And I've seen her interact with my granddaughters, who are younger than her, much younger, and she was wonderful with them. And she took into account that they were younger. She was playing with them, but she knew that they were younger, and she had to be gentle with them. And it was just such a joy to see her at a family gathering, playing with them and interacting with them. Yes, it made me very happy to see how she had adjusted to our family. But she does have challenges. So what are some of the challenges you see her facing in the coming year, let's say?
Yeah, I think, I think, and I've heard this said before, I always try to remember when you have a, sensory disorder, processing disorder, everything that we do is more difficult for her. So from the moment that she wakes up, life comes into her brain, and creates this stimulation. That is something that she is constantly having to deal with. And she also struggles to use words, right? And to express how she's feeling in words. So I think when she gets overloaded with everything that's coming into her brain, she will kind of have a meltdown and shut down. And so I think that that's something that's challenging for her, is what to do with all of this sensory information that's processed differently than a neurotypical child, right? And we're really trying to work with her in terms of using her words when she has big feelings, asking for help when she has big feelings. And I will say that's something that I've seen some progress with. So it's when she's having a meltdown, which is a challenge, trying to focus her afterwards, not during, on how next time we could address this in the moment with words rather than kind of some of the coping mechanisms that she uses currently.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that's an ongoing process.
Right.
It's ongoing as she gets older. Hopefully,
right.
She will get more control over that. So what are your hopes for Danny for the future?
Oh my goodness. She's such a smart person. And honestly, just like any of the other kids, I want her to be able to be as independent as she can possibly be, right? Because we're raising these children to not need us. And just to find something that brings her joy and makes her happy, where she can contribute, to the world in whatever way will bring her some satisfaction. And that's the same for all the kids, right?
Yes, of course, of course. And I would add to that teach her about prayer and teach her about the power of prayer, because I think when children have challenges, it's very important for them to be able to rely on prayer and positive thinking, and of course the love that you and Chris and other members of your family are showing her. That's a very powerful combination.
Right.
Love, stability, the stability of a good home, and prayer, and a prayer life. spirituality, however you introduce that to her. But that's something I believe that all children, and I've written that in the book, can rely on, that prayer is a powerful resource that really changes lives and changes situation and gives children confidence and something they can depend on. So I hope that, Danny will learn that as well, and I'm sure you are already, but I think it's just very, very important. I've seen that in the lives of children really make a big difference. So Christine, I'm so thrilled that you've been on these last 2 shows with me, and we're going to be putting on these shows onto YouTube, and we want to do that because we want to make sure that this message gets out. The importance of adoption from foster care system. And as you mentioned, it's free and it's open to individuals as well as couples and even older people. And so, as I said, and I've told you this many times, I think it's a noble thing that you've done, and it's a way you've shown the other children in your family how, to share love and share goodness and expand your love to include others,
Right.
and even Danny, who has special needs, that that you've opened your home to her, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful that you came on and you shared these thoughts and insights, and I think they'll help a lot of people. I think it will be very helpful to people. So thank you so much, and I thought you were excellent. You're an excellent guest.
Thank you.
I've had 2 guests so far on my show, and they were both wonderful. Jen was wonderful, and now you were wonderful. So I'm just going to, as I always do, I'm going to close with some blessings and prayers. But I just want to reiterate this. Let's try to find permanent homes for children in foster care. There are so many children who need a loving family. And as Christine has mentioned, there are other states. She adopted from Massachusetts, but there are other states that have these programs. And just think about, consider this. Just inquire and see if it's something that would be the right thing for you. Please also read the special dedication at the end of this show. This book, my book, and the series is dedicated to children. So some final thoughts. May I live with peace, and may you live with peace. May I live with goodness, and may you live with goodness. May I be kind to others, and may you be kind to others. May I be a healing presence for others, and may you be a healing presence for others. May I find meaning and purpose in my life, and may you find meaning and purpose in your life. May I remember to be grateful, and may you remember to be grateful. I would like to thank Western Connecticut Community TV for their training and ongoing support. Thank you for watching this show. See you next time.